What's good, everyone? It's your boy Dak908, aka the Dig Dug himself, and first and foremost, let's keep it real off the top, you know what I mean? This monster is kinda cool, and it's a baby Gravios who has many different attacks and manners that his adult form just doesn't, which makes him very interesting, because most monsters tend to follow the same cloth, you know, they same thing, cut, dry, just boring and lame. Basarios switches up a bit for a monster just like himself. But anyway, we get ahead of ourselves. Now, Basarios is a juvenile Gravios, a kid if you know what I mean. His body is rock hard, and due to said rocks adorning his body, he uses them as camouflage to hide in the ground. You can find him in a multitude of areas posing as a rock formation. But outside of that, he has quite a few attacks if he's not trying to hide. His abilities are pretty cool, and the only other monster actually shares the same ones with him is the special large chin fellow that we all know and love, at least I do anyway. His abilities are simple. He has the ability to expel sleeping, poisonous, and or fire gas. Now how he makes it his own is that he'll take a step, and at each individual step he'll expel some more gas, usually fire. However, not just those, he also has a beam. Granted, I rarely see him use this beam, but it is a beam nonetheless. Even though he has all these attacks, he will still charge you. But what makes it his own charge, much like all the other attacks that I spoke of, is that when he's at the end of the charge, sometimes he'll just roll over as a means to extend his hitbox. Now the last thing I want to mention are its breaks. Now every monster has breaks on its body. Usually I don't really discuss it, but someone made a comment saying, hey Dak, you should really talk about the breaks. Well, we're going to do that today. Now I spoke before, said that Basarios is a really tough monster to actually attack because his body is so hard. I'm actually using dual blades, and for the most part I'm using the demon mode so that way I can actually use innate mind's eye to go through his armor. Breaks of his body. If you break his back and you break his chest, it'll give yourself a better hitbox to actually do better damage to him, and it'll also make it to where you can actually get additional parts from a monster, which is, you know, par for the course. But the most important thing is you actually want to break his chest and his back. I would actually recommend mount spamming to get this done, because it's kind of tough to actually do it regardless. But there you go. You can also cut his tail, but it's no one really uses the Basarios stuff for anything. But with all that being said, let's actually move over to the gear. Now Basarios weapons, nothing really to call home about. I mean that literally. He has a heavy bowgun, a light bowgun, longsword, hunting horn, lance, and hammer. All of these weapons are fairly okay. I mean, there's really nothing breakout about them. They do have poison, so if you really want a poison weapon or something, I guess you can have that, but for the most part I would recommend skipping most of his weapons because they have modest attack. I'll admit to that. However, by now you've probably already ran across a poison weapon that you're probably more in love with, so I would just recommend sticking to what you already know and love. Now, much like his weapons, Baz's armor really isn't worth talking about either. I mean, off high rank you get Part Breaker and 12 points in defense. Part Breaker does more damage when you attack a monster's part that is actually able to be broken, so it's kind of cool if we were trying to cut a tail or something like that. The G-Rank version gives you Part Breaker, defense at medium, and Stamina Drain. Now Stamina Drain is a skill that most impact weapon users like to really use to make the monster lose its stamina or make itself tired faster. But other than that, that's pretty much all you can really say about the armor. It's not very good. I mean, it's okay. It's just, you know, there's better, but whatever. That's pretty much Basarios in a nutshell. Oh, lastly, I totally forgot. I didn't talk about any of the weaknesses or whatever, so let's talk about that really briefly. Its main weakness is technically dragon, but it's also water. It's a little weird. Certain hitboxes do more with dragon versus others with water. You can do both. I mean, the multiplier isn't very big. Like, usually it's multiples of 5, but this one, the dragon is actually a multiple of 3, where it's like 18 as opposed to like 15, and that's basically it. So you can get away with either water or dragon, it really doesn't matter. But if you're going to actually hit my man and use either of these elements, of course you want to hit him in his stomach or his feet. Those are his 2 weak spots. He also has a weak spot on his tail, but eventually you'll cut the tail off and you have much less else to do. So focus on the stomach and the feet to do the most damage when using either of these elements, because that's also where you're going to get those breaks as well. That's the video for the most part. Basarios, not really too difficult. The hardest part about him is this rock hard armor. If you can actually get through using weapons natural Mind's Eye or even using Mind's Eye, you should have no real problem fighting my mans right here. But that's all I can really say for now. What I want to talk about though, now the video's over, I actually made a Patreon. So for those of you who actually want to explore that venue, I suppose, you can if you like. I know this isn't a very proper launch video or something like that to my Patreon. I'm still getting it together, so I mean, I'll give you the link if you care, but I'm still working it, you know, trying to get the ins and outs, trying to figure out like what I can actually give you guys in terms of benefits and things like that, work on the art, and just trying to see what I can do to make this a thing that you guys might actually want to look into. On top of that, we are looking into more merch, so I'm gonna get that going as soon as I can. I actually have a design in the works. I just need to put the final touch on the design, and then I will give it out to another editor so that way she can make it a digital thing, because it's actually hand-drawn. It's a hand-drawn design. I'll get her to make it digital because my artist, he doesn't do the digital thing, and then we'll see about making a shirt design there. But we're gonna get all this stuff coming. I'm slowly working this out to you guys. I apologize for not really having the content out as often as I should. I'll admit this, Fallout 76 is the culprit. A lot of people are upset about the game. They don't like the game. They don't like how it's actually not what it used to be. They don't like how it's a multiplayer game or whatever. But for me, it's still kind of Fallout, and I can still have fun with it. I mean, much like how Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate isn't really the Monster Hunter game that's for me, but yet I can still pull like 400 hours into it for no reason. But I mean, that's neither here nor there. It's just the fact that I've been playing other games and just not really making a whole bunch of Monster Hunter content, but I promise I'll get back to making Monster Hunter stuff. It's just that you know, I was having a whole lot of fun with that. Also, before I go, we have a couple of seconds left. It is Thanksgiving weekend for those of us who live in the US, so what I'm going to be doing is it'll just be this video, and then after the festivities of Thanksgiving and Black Friday, I'll make a video after that, because I'm actually going to be traveling to see family and whatnot. So regardless, I won't actually have a follow-up video to this up until at least Saturday. So thank you guys so much for watching and supporting me throughout all this. For those again who want to actually pay attention and who those want to take part in the Patreon, the link for that will be in the description. The merch will be coming pretty soon, and I will holler at you guys all later. Hopefully you enjoyed this video and that actually helped you out. It's been your boy. Take care.